Ladies and gentlemen, what is up? Welcome back to another exciting episode here on Troubling Tribune. Today we bring you the Tuesday Tussle, another TikTok live that we aired last night. Flat smacking and more, so stay tuned. We're going to go through, as usual, the few announcements. Do not forget that tonight we are going to be going live with Flat Earth Dave over on YouTube and Rokfin. So we do appreciate everybody tuning in. Also, if you have not subscribed to Rokfin, you are missing out. Lots of gravy content creators producing lots of stuff that the YouTube algorithms, Google algorithms, that stuff, not very friendly to people who don't like censorship. So go ahead and head over to Rokfin and check out all the content over there, and you can search your boy Troubling Tribune. Also, we are going to be having another flat earther who has recently done a few experiments over on TikTok Live. Basically, the Eratosthenes experiment has been recreated and seems to triangulate a local sun. But we'll get more into that next week with our guest, Riz Walden. So we'll go ahead and leave some information for that. And let's go ahead and get right into it. As always, we will see you on the other side. Huge shout out to the Flat Earth Hype Man, Flatman X, for that edited clip there. He does work for all kinds of people in the community, so we definitely appreciate you. Shout out, keep doing the good work, brother. Oh, hey, didn't see you there. There are few ways easier to find information and knowledge than meditation. However, one of those ways is going over to truesmacks.com and checking out their resource page. By simply going over to truesmacks.com and clicking the resource page, you can find numerous links, data, videos, experiments that the YouTube and Google algorithms have buried. So go ahead and head on over and check it out. The information is free, and don't forget to show your support by picking up your bag of organic trail mix from truesmacks.com. And don't forget to use your 10% discount code SKY to get that discount on your total order. Right, any minute now, I'm sure somebody will be joining. This map looks dope. I don't care if you think it's a terrible representation or not. Look at the colors. I love neon shit. You guys can't tell from my content. I just like stuff like that. I don't need to prove frost on the dome. I'm not claiming it, dummy. Jeez. Oh my goodness. It can be exhausting sometimes dealing with all the trolls, and y'all just try to spam it in there, see if y'all can break my will, but I'm very thick-skinned. I do door-to-door sales for a living, so it's like there's literally nothing you guys can do or say that's going to, tick me off too much, except for talking over me. If you talk over your 2 minutes, that'll tick me off. All right, let's get the timer set up here. 70% Globies? You cowards. Get in the box. Guest access is allowed, I promise. These debates are a waste of time. Why'd you stop in? See ya. Bye, Felicia. I don't need to disprove the drift on the Earth. It's there. The question is what's causing it? I think it's the aether moving above us, or the electrostatic field vortexing, whatever you want to call it. Hey, I'm never claimed to be an absolute expert in physics or anything like that. That's why I'm open to be educated. Anybody can stop in here and see if they can educate us. But I have heard a lot of physicists talk about this sort of stuff, and although I'm not an expert, I do think I got a pretty decent grasp. Base and Truth's back again. Oh, dare to think for yourself. Let's see what you got. Welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on.
How's it going? I'm not a Glober, but I did have some questions because I've only been a flirter for like, I think going on like 3 months, and every day I'm learning something new, which is exciting. It's what keeps it fun for me, and that's why I stick with flat Earth. But um, one of the things I was watching on was the magnetic pole or the mountain located in the Arctic. Is there anything on it, like more information on it? Because I think there's some stuff I've seen, but it's kind of hard to find stuff. It seems like everywhere you go on the internet, they're trying to, these videos keep vanishing, or they get, something just disappears, and it's like they're trying to keep it from you, and they're scrambling to grasp at straws, and people just keep reposting. So I'm trying to catch it when there's more information on it.
Yeah, for sure. That is one of those obscure things because it's kind of hard to travel to that section of the world. So, but I totally get what you mean. But there are a lot of ancient. There were a few ancient religions that were talking about it. Mount Meru, a few ancient maps that reference it. I honestly don't know the specifics though. But I'm sure somebody in the chat knows. I get a lot of people, a lot of flat earthers in here, and I'm sure somebody covers that subject. So,
Yeah.
uh,
And is it true? Is it true that the Google Maps pretty much just blanks it out? Like they've stitched over it on Google Earth or whatever. You don't even see where that would be. So it's kind of like not even great editing. You can tell that they did kind of a crappy patching job over it, so you can't see what's going on
oh yeah,
in that region.
it's completely laughable. But I'm confused at who actually looks to like mainstream government sources and think, oh yeah, that's legit. That's the stuff I need.
Yeah, you can only take that stuff with a grain of salt. When it comes to stuff on the news, you gotta do your own homework if you want to know the actual truth behind the story. Because if the story's not juicy, they're not going to post it. So they gotta amp it up. They gotta make it sound good. They gotta make it sound tasty. Otherwise, no one's going to eat it up.
Can't argue there. Everybody agrees that you need some showmanship. So,
Yeah, but I'd like to hear you talk to some Glovers. I still have a lot to learn. So when it comes to debates and stuff, I'm more just kind of like to hang out on the sidelines and still learn, because there's stuff to learn from both sides.
oh yeah, 100%. And the flat Earth is definitely a position that is evolving. Just like the mainstream position. It has to change and evolve with new information. So do we. So it's just how it goes, and we make no bones about it. We don't claim to be perfect. Unlike the
Yeah,
other side that
one
claims to have it all figured out.
Yeah, one of my favorite questions I like to ask Glovers is, if the technology was there to get us to the moon and we got through the Van Allen radiation belts, why would we destroy perfectly good technology to get somewhere if it was like a slam dunk, a hole in one, if you will, in a big step for mankind? There should have been holidays about this. It should have been a huge deal. These guys should have been like, cheering and all sorts of excited when they got back. But when they were being like interviewed, it looked like they had seen a ghost. It was kind of strange.
Oh yeah, lots of people who study psychology have looked at that, and it definitely looks like it almost looks like somebody had died. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, they were very, very sad looking, and then they were looking at each other for reassurance. So we're like, "Oh, did we see any stars?" No, no, no. There wasn't any stars on the set. I mean, there wasn't any stars in the space.
That's
So
awesome.
it just the more I dug into it, the more I see like holes and stuff. They did a good job with some of the footage for, especially during that time frame with the little bunny hops on the moon and stuff. But when it came to like the landing and the taking off of the moon, that footage was very very shoddy at best. And uh, the flirters convinced me. I kept digging and digging, and then I've only been a flirter for like a couple months, and I'm just like, man, I'm still trying to wrap my head around it because part of me in the back of my mind has always loved space so much. Like I want to believe it. Um, but a lot of these planets, not all, but a lot of these planets, they're just like flickering luminaries on these high resolution telescopes that don't have the software to turn them into a solid object. So what they're looking at almost looks like something in water, like the star in the jar thing. They just look like these little flashing luminaries. They're definitely not solid like we've been deceived about.
Oh yeah, a lot of people don't realize that. If you want to try to work out a working theory on what the stars are, that's not burning balls of gas millions of miles away. I think that's a that's a good place to start. Is solemn luminescence, where they can create these bubbles and collapse them, and they look exactly like stars. I think
Yeah.
that's absolutely wild. An experiment that I would like to see done is somebody create one of those stars in the jar and then actually try to like zoom in on it with a camera and try to see what exactly
Right.
it looks like to see if it looks similar. And if it
Yeah.
does, then that'd be crazy. If it doesn't, maybe you can add a few layers of stuff to make it look similar. Maybe there's a layer of something, but that's a
Well,
good area to
same
start.
here. I was thinking if a lot of these, say these stars, like if they put off a certain frequency, if you can resonate that frequency on these individual stars in the jar, if you will, imagine if they flicker in the same method and coloring as what you would see or observe what we think is space. Imagine if they matched up perfectly. They do the same type of flashing, same colors, same patterns.
Yeah, exactly. That's really, really weird. And I have a pool in my backyard and you can see the light reflecting off the water and it looks, eerily similar. But I would like to see us do a few more tests and see if we can narrow it down a little bit more on what exactly is going on up there.
Yeah, and I got a lot of kiddos and stuff. I don't teach them flat Earth or anything, but one of the kiddos was watching me watch a video, and they're like, "Is that a boat?" And I was like, "No, that's a rocket." They're like, "Why is it skipping off the water?" And I was like, "No, that's not water. That's space, sweetie. That's the atmosphere." But it does kind of resemble when the SpaceX rocket was trying to bust through the firmament. It was just skipping off of it, and it very much resembled like a liquid or some type of water substance.
One for you to envy is absolutely correct. Everybody needs to smash the heck out of that screen. We need to get that to 5K. We're almost there. Stationary Nate, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for coming on.
What's up? What's up, brother? Thank you for letting me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime. What you got for us today?
Concave Earth, brother. We're inside the sphere, not the outside.
So, you know how it goes since we're a Flat Earth debate channel. I would ask you to prove the curvature.
Okay. So, there is footage out there. I haven't done it myself. I will be honest. I haven't done any footage myself. I can't afford. I'm saving up for a camera, but I can't afford one right now. But there is footage out there. I can give you the channel to this guy's Zenith Atlas. He's got ground footage, field footage, 3 to 5 inches off the water, filming water at like a 10-mile distance, and the water's always curving up. It's always curving up, even at that low. It's always going upward.
So, the issue that I have is that I know that you guys say that it looks like it's curving upward, but the flat Earth argument is that that's obviously due to perspective. The things below you, below the surface, go up towards the middle of your line of sight, and the things in the sky go down towards the also to the horizon towards your line of sight. And the fact that you're seeing 10 miles off of so little off the water does indicate that it's flatness. And then eventually you're just seeing some waves that have risen up, because that's just how perspective works. But is there like a have you guys done like a actual measurement or something like that? I've heard concave earthers mention that there's like some survey or something.
Yeah, there's plumb bob experiments, rectilinear experiments. Some of these experiments are uh, awfully expensive. Like the rectilinear, it's hard to recreate. But yeah, those experiments have been done and have concluded that there's concavity rather than convexity or flatness.
So I'm going to need a little bit more clarification on what the experiments are that you're talking about, because I normally debate globers, not concave earthers. So this stuff normally doesn't come up for me.
Sure, sure. I understand. I don't have any at the top of my mind, man. I be honest. I've been on this journey for like probably 8 months now, not even a whole year, and flat Earth is what opened up my mind to all this. And I just took a nosedive into everything, man. Looking at a little bit of everything, Freemasons, symbolism, and all sorts of esoteric stuff here and there. But yeah, I'm still learning, man. But flat Earth is where I got started, man. And I just hit some dead walls, bro. I hit some dead walls. The stars, I got a problem with the stars. The torus field, I got a problem with the torus field because the torus field doesn't even work on a convex, let alone a flat plane. There needs to be space in order for a torus field to work. And in the concave model, the torus field is in the center, so it's that whole space.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a little bit more clarification on that because again, I'm not an expert in the physics. The toroidal field that I understand, wouldn't that be like vortexing from the center?
It would be vortexing, but you got the magnetic field generated from the torus field from the center point, and you also got the centripetal convergent force that's driving inward towards the center point and expressing itself in magnetism. And how it's explained in the concave is the magnetic field that's expressed from the center point, from the center of the Earth, is what's pushing us, compressing us to the outer walls of the Earth. Um, Nikola Tesla's uh, explained this to be the gravity that other people call. It's actually called universal compression.
So this
So
compression, why couldn't it happen between two solid flat surfaces?
there needs to be a center point, and if the center point's at the bottom on the centripetal dielectric plane of inertia, it wouldn't make sense
So
in the way I'm explaining.
have you never heard of single pole magnets?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I know what you're talking about. And so I guess in the flat Earth, is it explained that the sun and moon are levitating over the plane at a set height?
So our
Is
models kind of this is actually one of our big complaints is that we don't have like a superset model. The sun is something that's really difficult to triangulate due to the light refraction through the atmosphere. So with that being said, we don't make definitive claims on the sun distance. At least most of us don't. I certainly
for
don't.
sure, for sure. Yeah, yeah. In the concave model, the sun is behind probably like 3 or 4 layers of glass firmament, and through these layers, the sun can appear, where it's at, depending on where we're at and where the sun's at the time of day. But it's never really at wherever we're seeing it. It's actually behind the glass. It's just being refracted by a fringe through the glass, and so it's really hard. Like you'll see these pictures, right, of suns being in the clouds, but then you'll get those high altitude balloon footage, and then the sun will be like way up, 20,000 feet in the air or something, and That's a quite a huge difference, and it's explained by the concave model that it's behind several layers of glass. So it's going to give us the illusion that it's wherever we're seeing it, but it's not really there. It's behind the glass, and it's orbiting the celestial sphere in our model. So as it's lifting, like when you see a sunset and the sun appears like it's going down, it's really just lifting up and away. It's lifting up and away, and it's giving us this aberration of where we think it is. You know what I mean?
Has that been like has that been demonstrated like the flat Earth sunsets have?
Demonstrated.
Yeah, like the way you explain sunsets.
Well, I mean, you can look at like coma aberration from camera lensing. You go off stuff like that to kind of because that essentially that's what's happening. That's what's happening, and like if you look up, and the reason why we think it's being it has birefringence to the glass is because have you heard of Libyan desert glass?
What's that?
So Libyan desert glass is glass found in the Libyan desert and other parts of the world and stuff. And this glass has been known to contain graphite ribbons. And these graphite ribbons have birefringent properties. And so this glass has been like a mystery to science. Like, they say it comes from meteors or something. They don't know. They don't really know how it's formed or where it came from. They have theories. They may say they know, but it doesn't make any sense what the heliocentric scientists say that this glass is coming from. But what I believe it came from was either the flood or whenever the firmament was ruptured at one point in time, and so all this glass came down, and it was just a mystery. You know what I mean? Until
I'm actually with you on the so far in what you're saying about the because I've heard a lot about ideas on like what the firmament could be and all that. The thing is that to me anyway, the firmament doesn't necessarily mean that we're concave. It can definitely be something over a flat surface, and in fact, one of the things that tends to lead me to believe that it's flat is that there are different dynamics to the way that the electrostatic gradient that we have over the Earth works. Um, so we have, and this is something I learned recently. So if I get something wrong, I apologize. But to my understanding, we have a gradient of 100 meters, 100 meters per. I'm getting this completely wrong now. I can't remember the exact measurement. About 100 volts or so per meter. That's what it was. 100 volts per meter. You go up, you get a little bit more charge, and it's a gradient. And so this is one of the arguments that I heard from Witsit Gets It, Austin Witsit, is that this gradient seems to suggest that there is another surface that also has a charge above us, and there's a different dynamic between what a spherical object producing this charge to another spherical shell versus the Gaussian method, which is just the flat. Basically, you take two plates and you turn them into Gaussian surfaces, which is just surfaces with a charge so that the gradient can exist between them. So this is one of the things that definitely to me tends to indicate that we do live on a a flat, uh, honestly like a flat Gaussian surface, if that makes sense.
sure, yeah. So like I guess a little more description, like on what we think, how far up the firmament is, and so it goes all around. So like when you say it's like flat, like it's I guess it's level to the plane, right? When you say when it's that it could be flat, the firmament.
Sure.
Okay, yeah. So it's essentially the same idea. It's probably not perfect, but it's all evenly the same distance anywhere you are in the Earth. It's the same distance above, which what we think is 62 miles, 100 kilometers in the air. And how we kind of figure that is auroras kind of bottom out at that height. Sprites bottom out at that height. Several other things. I don't have it in front of me. I got it written down, but other things also bottom out at that height. Yeah, that's where what we think the initial glass ceiling is at. Yeah.
I'm with you so far.
Yeah. Yeah. It's pretty cool model, man. And just I think, well, I've heard it before, and I honestly, like, there's, there's flat earthers that I think there's two kinds of flat earthers, man. I think there's flat earthers who genuinely think the earth is flat, like I did as well. And then I think there's other ones that are pushing this in the wrong way. And I say that just because I feel like heaven has a literal geographical location like 4,000 miles above our heads in the center of the earth. Like it's just with I just feel like I thought it was flat, right? But there's nothing that I don't know. Like, what would you say your proof is? Your best solid evidence of the ice wall? Like that would probably because that's really like one of the things that did it for me, man. Was the ice wall and the fact that and what I learned about light, how light propagates, and everything we see, like it seems like it's a straight line. Like we look in a horizon and it appears to be straight. And we look at refraction and like things in the ocean, they look like, just with the bare eye, they look like they're I mean, it looks like it's refracting downward. And helios, we use that a lot of the times to say, oh, it's going down the curve. Well, if it's refracting, doesn't refracting mean mirroring? Isn't it mirroring? So it's like
No,
a
that's not what.
mirage, right?
So that's not exactly what that means. Refracting just means that it's bending through the different density of medians, which is usually caused by temperature. So the light will typically bend down into the denser medium, is what I believe the claim is. Um, but I mean, you kind of said it, at first. It definitely appears to be flat and straight. Um, at least most of the time. Other times it actually doesn't. There are a lot of videos going around that are showing that the horizon is 100% an optical effect, that the temperature variance throughout the day actually raises and lowers the horizon because it is, refracting the light at different rates throughout the day. So, but it always, like you mentioned, it definitely appears to be flat and straight. And then when you actually try to measure it, you know, the land surveys, I won't call them land surveys, that's kind of a stretch, right? But the laser surveys and stuff that we've shown, do show that there's, definitely not curvature happening. And especially not the rate that they're saying. I think it was said that the Earth would have to be 1,000 times bigger for it to still work. Which would just be, I mean, that's another way that you people can think about it if you want to just believe that the Earth is just super duper massive. I mean, but again, we've shot radar signal, thousands of miles over the Atlantic, and that was before we even knew about the ionosphere.
Right. Yeah. Um, kind of what I asked before. What would be what
Oh,
this ice wall, man? Like the ice wall gets me because this is one of the things why it gets me is because they have these they got these yacht races and globe races, right? The Vendée Globe race, the Vendée Globe race. Their next race is their last one was in 2020. Their next one will be in 2024, November 10th, I believe. And they take these boats. They're all GPS. They're all tracked, and they go down from France to the west side of Africa, down to Antarctica, circle around, and then go back up to France. And all these boats are GPS tracked and stuff. And
what's the race called?
it's the Vendée, VEDEE or VEDNEE. Did I get that right? No, VENDEE race, globe race. Yeah, I got a video on my profile on it too. Yeah, they got a yacht race as well. Their next one is 2024. I missed the one in 2020, but yeah, they said these boats were GPS tracked and um, really interesting.
1 second. I'm trying to pull up some more stuff with it.
Yeah, I guess there's someone said there's a yearly race too. I guess that's the yacht race I was thinking about.
Vendeglobe.org. Trying to see how long it takes them to do it. Okay, so we got a distance 24,000 miles. That's weird. I have one saying 2 months. I have another saying 3 hours. I think there's two different races I'm looking at.
Yeah, I asked that someone asked, can someone buy and take a sailboat? I think you can if you know I guess if I haven't been down there myself, but I guess I've heard stories that you can't go up to the ice wall, but I think in some form, like you can get close enough to circumnavigate it somehow.
So
I think
they're a good they're a good ways off the coast. That's like I just had the map pulled up. So I mean I don't think they're in any way, shape or form in view of the shelf. But to kind of answer your question on the ice wall itself, I think that's a bit of a misnomer. I think that people get really hung up on that, thinking that it has to be a literal ice wall around the entire Earth. The truth is that water sits in simply the lower elevated areas, and Antarctica is a proven fact regardless of what model we're looking at, one of the highest, actually the highest elevated continent on Earth. So when you're looking at the flat Earth model and you see this ring, it's not necessarily a wall. It's just the area of the highest elevation that contains the water. And some areas definitely are ice wally. And I mean, I don't think we have to argue too much on that. I mean, I'm sure you've seen the pictures and videos of the literal ice shelves that 200 feet high, way bigger than huge boats. So, and that's the Antarctic ice shelf, but the shelf doesn't go all the way around. There are certain areas that are just higher elevation and like mountainous.
sure, yeah.
I'm trying to pull up because I had this before. I keep mistaking my mouse is to my phone, not to my laptop over here.
So yeah, that the globe race is interesting. It's something that I wouldn't have automatically looked to unless someone informed me about it. You know, um, maybe that's something someone or you or can make a video and you know try and debunk. I don't know. I think having a GPS tracking all these boats kind of I know there's the stories of what's his name, Captain James Cook, and who else? That other, what was that other guy?
Magellan.
There's a few of them. There's a few of them back then. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate that they didn't have the technology to track their distances and whatnot. But I think there'd be some form of doing that these days, even if they're not letting people too close to it.
Well, that kind of stuff can just be faked anyway, also. But let's do some math real quick. So I actually finally have it pulled up. The time that it takes for the Vindy globe race that you're referring to is 74 days and 3 hours. So I'm going to do this live. We're doing it live. So, may prove out, to work exactly like the globe says, may not. But it said that the boats go 30 knots. 1 second, of course. revolution accomplished during the last edition. Okay, and it said the last edition they were actually doing 10 knots. So got to make sure I'm doing the math right on that. So let me go ahead and do a conversion. 10 knots to miles per hour is going to be 11.5 miles per hour. Okay. So now let's go ahead and pull up our calculator. Okay. So let's go back. Sorry, again, we're doing it live, folks, so bear with me. 74 days and 3 hours. So we're going to have to do 24 times 74.
It's a good thing you're a math guy, man, because
I'm not. That's the thing. I just got a calculator here. So if I struggle, you know why. I guess the running joke would be, yeah, of course I'm bad at math. I'm a flat earther. I'm just kidding. It's all in good fun. Okay, so 24 hours times 74 days means that's going to equal 1,776 hours plus 3. So 1,779 hours is what they're claiming it took. Can't just change it. Jerks. All right. Oh. Well, let me just clear it then and type it again. 1,779. That's how many hours it took for these boats that were going supposedly 11.5 miles per hour. So if we take this is how many hours it took. And we're going to divide this by... Well, I mean, do we even need to? Hold on. Yeah, 11. 11.5. Right? I haven't even looked at the chats. People are probably screaming at me.
Yeah.
They're like, you should have done math. I'm just kidding. Okay. So if I divide that 11.5 miles per hour by the hours that they said it took. Man, I'm not sure what this says, what this proves. Pretty sure I did something wrong. Yeah, that's frustrating. All right.
I wouldn't know how to convert hours into. Well, I mean.
Well, what would you even need to convert it to? You know. I guess I'm just trying to make sure that the time matches up, right? That the check works. Because 10 knots is 11.5 miles per hour. So if you were traveling...
Damn, that seems so slow.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, and these boats were supposedly able to go like 20 miles per hour. So it's like, it's weird that they were going like half speed.
Some of them go up to 30, I thought.
Yeah, so it's weird that they're going only 11.5 miles per hour. But hey, that's what they said. They said the last edition was 10 knots, and the updated edition that they're about to do is going to be 30 knots.
I'll tell you this much. I'm definitely watching the one in 2024. I know that's another year away, but, something to look forward to, I guess.
Right. Okay, so 150. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I'm trying to scroll up, and it's not letting me because my calculator is stupid on the laptop. Chromebook is an excellent series. highly recommended. I agree with this comment here. NASA can send all the bots and shields they want. They help create new flat earthers with their stupidity. I completely agree. I'm still trying to work out this math. If anybody else wants to jump into the guest box and try to help me work this out, I know it's absolutely hilarious. I just can't think of.
I guess we could probably sit on this. I mean, I could probably go back and do some math as well. I'm definitely probably not as prepared as I could have been for a debate. I told myself I was never going to do this stuff, but it's it's all this is so interesting, man, and I learned so much if I actually involve myself in it rather than not talk about it at all. Kind of increases my confidence with it. I do feel like it's the correct model, but I started off as Flat Earth, and Flat Earth just left out a lot of questions.
Yeah, I hear you there. Give me just 1 second.
All right.
Distance times speed. Awesome. All right. So I just got some word. It's distance times speed. That's the missing number, is the distance. That's what I was forgetting to calculate. I'm such an idiot. God, I feel so stupid now. Oh
Good,
my
man.
goodness. Okay, so the miles then. 24,296 miles. Okay, so that's the distance. 24,296. Okay. And then times speed. Okay. Is it times or is it divide? Seems like it'd be divide.
I don't know.
Hold on. I think it is divide. Because you're dividing it by
Yeah, that's what someone says in the comments. Yeah. Well, I don't know. You got times divide. You got people just.
just saying both. I think it's divide because look, hear me out. The distance is 24,000 miles. So if you're going 11 and a half miles per hour, you're obviously trying to find out how long it's going to go into that distance. So I think it's divide. And if it's something totally wrong, then I'll know to multiply it. Divided by 11.5 equals 2,112. So that's how many hours it would take going 11 and a half miles per hour, which does not add up because the hours were supposed to be 17. So something's wrong. Something's wrong there. Let's multiply it and find out if that changes anything. One more time, folks. Appreciate you hanging in there. I know it's been painful trying to, watch me struggle with such an easy math equation. All right, now let's multiply it by 11.5. This is a way bigger number. This is 28,618. 280,618. Yeah, that doesn't work either. So regardless of whichever way you do the math, it doesn't work. Let's try it with 30 knots. 24. This will be the last time, I promise. 296.
Someone says just over 17,000. I don't know if that's accurate.
AU Design wants to join the party. Thanks for coming on the show, man. I appreciate you bearing with my terrible math.
What's up? Can you hear me okay?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you great, man.
All right, let's just show this math real quick. Hold on. Let's see if we can focus in on that. All right. All right, there. So, you said 74 days?
Yep, in 3 hours.
24 hours is 1,776. Add that extra 3, we got the 1,779. And then at the top, 1,779 times 11 and a half hours, miles per hour, you got 20,458 miles.
Nice. Yeah, they're super short on
That's
that.
about what they say it should be.
They're off by 4,000 miles. Could you imagine being off by 4,000 miles in navigation?
Yeah, that's quite a bit, but it says approximately.
That is fair. What is the max speed?
I don't know that exact. I don't know exact. Honestly, I don't know that either.
That's
I'll
what I'm
just
about
do
to
the
look
math
up.
with you real quick.
Because I appreciate you doing that with me. You pretty much just verified what I was talking about, is that the math wasn't adding up. But let me get the actual exact speed. How long did it take?
You had said
Okay, that was
in math
that
it
was the
was
winner.
11 and a half.
The 74 days and 3 hours was the winner. So that was the winning boat. Let's find out what speed they were going.
Yep.
All right. This is fun. Here we go. Vendée Globe race winner boat speed. Thomas sailed. Okay, here we go. Thomas sailed. This actually probably will make up for it. Let's just be real. Thomas sailed 27,636 nautical miles in a race at an average. It's an average speed of 15.39.
Right,
But then
so
it said,
average speed
at times hitting more than 30 knots. So
right. Rest breaks are also in there. They don't sail the whole entire time. All sorts of little things. But at the ring that they're sailing around, it's about that 24,000 miles, something like that, which supports the globe model.
yeah, there's a possibility that
Some
they're
shit
just
like
making a
that.
big circle in the ocean, though. But that's why it's a good thing that when they do this race again, they're going to have like the GPSs and stuff. A whole bunch of flat earthers and globe earthers are going to tune in. So I think that'll be fantastic.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, the next Vendée race will definitely be a lot more interesting, that's for sure. A lot more viewers this time around, I think.
Absolutely. I would just say and throw it out here that I would sooner believe in a concave Earth than a than the convex globular Earth. I do tend to
Well,
think
I
that's
will
my
say
personal
that
bias,
I
though.
am a globe Earth. I do believe in the globe Earth. But I keep tuning into these flat Earth debates and stuff, so I'm still coming back for a reason. No one's giving me that good reason yet, so
So what do you
I'm
think that?
waiting.
So you're just waiting for like a nail in the coffin?
I wouldn't even say that. I'm waiting for a flat Earth model that explains more than one phenomenon at once.
That's fair.
Yeah. I mean,
We're in the process of
I
building
agree.
that.
Yeah,
I would
I hear
also
it.
like.
I've heard a couple people talking. They're working on one. I'm waiting for it. So that's all.
That's fair. But
Because I
just
know on a globe model, lots of things work at once. It explains lots of things at once. And every flat Earth model I've ever seen only explains one thing at once. And then there's just so many different models and so many different theories. Like, I draw the line at the model that you show right now, but the one with all the extra ice and different continents out behind that, oh my goodness, that's just, now they're reaching too far.
well, that's admitted to be speculation, at least. We
Right.
don't know what's beyond Antarctica if there is anything. Just to shoot it completely straight. But as for
I
like the model question, before we move on, Stationary Nate, I know you want to get a point in. I'll make this super quick so you can. I would just say that replacement is a separate matter um, than the debunking of the current model. And the reason why I say that is, and I think Jeranism put it best from YouTube and Rokfin. He said that it'd be like fine, you grow up your whole life with the parents that and nothing different, and then one day you find a paper that says that you're adopted, and and you go to your friends and you're like, hey, I just found out I'm adopted, and they say, well, who's your real family then? And you're just like, well, I don't know. I literally just found out, and they're like, well, we're not gonna believe it until you show us your real family. So the thing is though, even though the globe model can be used to explain a couple things, the thing is when it's scrutinized, you'll see that the mathematics and the physics actually don't hold up. and that things that are assumed to be absolute are actually averages, and that the observations are actually explained away instead of accounted for. And so that's one of the reasons why I actually tend to lean flat Earth myself. But Stationary Nate, I heard you trying to get in a point, so I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah. I wanted to, you know, the people say, on the topic of other lands and stuff. I hear a lot of flat earthers like to say, well, we're not allowed to Antarctica because they're keeping us from the other lands and stuff. And I don't necessarily I don't necessarily think that I do think there's something there. Like there's definitely something there. There's probably something in the north as well. But I don't necessarily think that would be a valid argument to use for claiming that there's other lands and stuff. Now I do believe there is something there. What could be there, what might be there, in my opinion, are holes. I think there's holes there. Whether or not these holes lead to other concave shells, if you will, like other maybe that's also like maybe another version speculation of other lands and stuff. But I do think the holes there serve a purpose, and I think it's to help help synchronize the magnetic flux of the shell with all the pressure and stuff. I do believe there's got to be some release for those pressures, and I think they release and fluctuate out and through those holes.
That's very interesting. I want to address this comment real quick. This person says you can literally book a trip to Antarctica right now. Flurfers just can't research because reading is tough. That's one of the most disingenuous comments that I've heard all night, dude. You can't research. Obviously, researching must be very tough. Very big projection for you. Probably wouldn't take you more than 10, 20 minutes to realize that all the flights and cruises to Antarctica only take you to a peninsula of it. And so you have to stay on the border of it. No one's saying you can't go to the border, right? Supervised. Everybody knows you can. And maybe they'll even walk you out a little bit further and take you to a place that you think is the South Pole. But it's all guided. It's all very restricted. There's no like free agency, free travel over there. So that's just completely disingenuous. Dude, get real.
Yeah. Okay. So you said there still could possibly be some sort of compression in the flat Earth model. Some sort of.
So the downward vector in the flat Earth model, or the working in progress flat Earth model would be the electrostatic gradient. And the reason why we lean on this is because it can be demonstrated. We've manipulated the variable, which is electrostatic charge, with a Van de Graaff generator, and we were actually able to make things levitate and sink based on the charge or discharge that we applied. So, and with the fact that we have this electrostatic gradient over the Earth, this leads us to believe that there is some surface over us that is, helping create this gradient, this charge, if you will, because we actually can't create this effect of a charge gradient without Gaussian plates. So that's why I tend to lean that direction. Welcome to the show.
Okay, hey everybody. I'm not gonna. I don't knock anybody's beliefs. Okay, I've been in the Marines for 15 years, and I will tell you this right now. I've taken a direct flight. I do hold a real high security clearance currently, which is a TSSCI. Okay, top secret security compartmental information. Okay, I still currently hold it, even though I'm out. I'm medically retired. I could go to Antarctica right now, take a MAC flight, go there, and be in the middle of Antarctica. And actually, I've done it once before. And actually, while I was in the Marines, went straight across the continent by tracks, hit the other part of the ocean, and went straight to another continent. So I'm telling you, I've been to 38 countries, seen 29 combat missions. I've been to Iraq 4 times, Afghanistan 3 times. And I will tell you this right now, I've been everywhere to where flat earthers, I wanted to believe that they're telling the truth or that they have something going, because I believe in a lot of conspiracies. Trust me, I do. But
Not
I've
saying
been
there ain't plenty of
from
conspiracies out there.
one end of the freaking globe to the other end of the globe, doing combat, saving people's lives, dropping people over 1,000 yards out. Technically speaking, 1.5 miles is my furthest confirmed kill. And I use the Coriolis effect, which is the spinning of the rotation of the Earth,
For
to
only a
drop
mile and a
somebody
half.
at a bat out of hell with a 50 cal Barrett.
So how did you actually do that when you went to shoot? Did you aim like far left, far right? How'd that work
No,
out?
there's crosswinds, by the way. Okay, first of all, approximately every 300 to 500 meters, okay, there's crosswinds, so it'll go one way or the other. Okay, and they teach you this in boot camp at a 500-meter target. Okay, and I will tell you this: that's adjusting your left and your right, and then you got your aperture, rear side aperture, front side post, and you adjust the elevation. Okay, with a scope, we could actually elevate it to a point to where we could adjust it to the Coriolis effect at 1 mile out and hit a target, whether it's moving or stationary, and we will be on point because we use the Coriolis effect.
Oh, okay,
Which
so
is
does
the
that
rotation
vary?
of the Earth.
Were you shooting north, south, east, west? Which direction?
East to west or west to east.
That's when you
Coriolis
factored in.
effect
How do you?
spins on a
How do you?
degree, a differential degree, which is a tilt axis, which is roughly about there. It's about 10, 12 degrees or something like that, roughly, depending upon,
Just do the if
where
you
you're
did it,
getting
just
at.
do the calculation for us real quick.
What do you want, the calculations?
Yeah, just
Depends
do it.
on the weight, the round.
Well,
Depending on the weight of the round,
do the one that you did,
the distance.
so that it's easy. Do the one that you did so that it's easy.
That easy. It just depends on the weight of the round.
So the one that you said that you had your
round weighs
confirmed
a lot
kill.
more than a freaking 7.62 by 51 by a 7.62 round, which is a NATO round also. But
So before every shot, Mika, you have to do a mathematical equation.
no, we have a dope, which is basically, our calculations are already predetermined when we already do it. We have a dope. We dope
And
our
so
scope.
does it vary based on direction?
Okay, if you're shooting north to south, okay, you're going to have a rotation of the Earth, but you also have moving targets, and you also have stationary targets. Okay, then you go to east and west. If you go east and west, it's going to get there either shorter period of time or a longer period of time. So north to south, you're going to hit the target, but you got to calculate with the Coriolis effect because of the rotation of the Earth. The round will go straight, will shoot, but the curve, the rotation of the Earth does move. So that means if the target is stable, and if I point at one direction and not calculate for the Coriolis effect, I will miss my target anywhere from 5 inches to 200 feet.
So my question would be, because you said you had a confirmed kill from 1.5 miles away.
I have multiple confirmed kills. Multiple.
Okay, well, you're saying
I
that
have actually 53 confirmed kills. For every one confirmed kill I did, I didn't have to take 3 shots for every one confirmed kill. So you do the math on 53 confirmed kills, times it by 3. Those were the unconfirmed kills that I did.
So just
and
take
it's
one.
not lies. You can look up even Carlos Hathcock. He did
Take
the
any
same
of them.
damn thing.
Take any of them that you did the calculation for, and just do the calculation for us live for us, so that we can see that you know what you're talking about.
Okay. Let's see if the windage is 12 miles an hour, going east to west. Okay, you could do 3 clicks. 3 clicks left. Okay. That's the simple designation on our scopes. 3 clicks. I do not like talking about shit, but you know what? Just to prove a theory or to prove anything that what I've done for the past 15 years in protecting every freaking country that is in NATO forces, I will prove it.
Hey, Double Dog, I got a question for you.
Yeah,
Appreciate your service. I'm on your side, so that's not what this question is driving at. You're in the service, right?
I was. Yes, I did 15 years.
All right. You ever use radar?
Never used radar whatsoever. My cousin, he is a sonar guy on the largest nuclear ballistic missile sub, which is the for the United States wise, which is the Rhode Island. He uses radar and sonar, but
That's
mostly
cool.
he's
He needs
a
to get on there
sonar guy
because
because basically it's whales humping he hears. It's kind of funny, but I make a joke about that all the time to him.
I've just been waiting for a flat Earth person to explain radar shadow.
That would be a good one.
Right.
That's so funny. So by radar shadow, and correct me if I'm wrong, please, because I'm definitely not a radar expert, but radar shadow is simply the idea that things lower towards the ground because of the Earth curvature, or specifically not even just that, but changes in elevation, different obstructions, all kinds of stuff. Basically, whatever blocks the radar is the radar shadow, right? The area that the radar doesn't cover.
Radar shadows the point radar no longer covers because of the curve of the Earth. Yes.
So you're using a very specific part of the definition. It actually has a much broader version of it that when you first Google it, it clearly shows you that it's just like mountains and stuff blocking. Has nothing to do with the curve of the Earth unless you're talking about like the,
Being on the ocean,
the naval radar.
supposedly the flattest radar shadows still exist.
Yeah, that's because light
And
reflects.
by the way, to people that don't believe the railgun still exists, we still have about 6 or 7 destroyers to my knowledge, currently, that uses the railgun currently.
Yes,
And it's
sir.
fully effective at about 500 miles out.
Let me guess, they're calculating for the Earth curve too, right?
They have to.
They don't do the calculations. The
computer
computer
does.
does the calculations for the Coriolis effect, the windage, the weight, the distance, everything. Everything.
So I seen a calculation for
I
trajectory
literally was
that said
almost hit by one of the rail guns when it struck about 20, 30 meters away from me in a building.
We agree that railguns exist,
It's that
and
accurate.
we actually believe that because railguns do exist and that they're so accurate over 500 miles, and that they're not calculating for Earth curve in that calculation, that in fact proves that the Earth is flat. So I was just wondering what you thought about
No,
that.
they do calculate the curvature in the Coriolis effect. Now, depending upon which way you go, if you face east to west, you got to calculate the time that it's going to hit its target.
More time.
So there's 44 different Army manuals and NASA documents that reference a flat, stationary,
What are the Army manuals
non-rotating
called?
Earth. There's over 44 different of them. I'd have to give you a link, but I can definitely send you one.
No, you don't have to tell me the specific manual. What are Army manuals called?
I'd have to pull it up. So.
They're called technical manuals, okay? Technical manuals, that's why they have TM with a number, dash number, okay? Marine Corps has our own manuals. We follow Alamar's. And yes, we do have a college, by the way. The Marine Corps does have a college. Marine Corps Alamar. And it is the basic knowledge. And if you look up the TM manual, even in the sniper school, which I live about 5 minutes away from an Army sniper school here.
Give me 1 second.
Which is Fort Benning.
I know any good marksman's accounting for Coriolis after 500 yards.
Yeah, you can calculate, well, windage is calculated within 500 yards, okay? And it changes its wind direction. Usually crosswinds come about
you can't even make
within
this up.
Anywhere from 300 to 500 yards. That's why when we post a flag up,
you guys are going to fucking love this.
We can tell the distance if there's windage going on. And we make a small adjustment. What was my MOS? 0317. And yes, I am a hog.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to turn off my effects. Brother. I do appreciate your service, by the way. I don't.
Absolutely.
I never say that someone's. I never say that someone's.
Personally, I'm not going to knock you guys because and I will tell you this: flat earthers do like to do research. But the thing is, You have to find the viable research in order to prove your theories to be correct. And I'm not going to knock you on it whatsoever. What I am going to knock on is straight facts. Because if you guys could prove to me, that the Earth is not a globe, then by all means, and you got to have viable proof.
So
But
I know it's kind of hard to.
I've been all over the world.
I know it's kind of hard to see because it's inverted, but my Google search was simply calculating the transcontinental ballistic missile trajectory, and
My primary on the list was 0311. My secondary was 0317. How about that?
Well,
yes, I was straight infantry grunt, and then I went through sniper school at Camp Pendleton, California, which is at SOI West. 17 weeks of glorious freaking hell.
So I mean, they're even showing the AE map for their trajectory, and then you look over here, they're clearly showing it over flat surfaces. So I just thought that was interesting. Let me go ahead and turn on the green screen once again. By the way, I appreciate everybody coming on, regardless of what side of the aisle you are on. We do appreciate you being here. This is a place where you can come hash out the ideas and really test the truth. That's the model of the whole show. So I do thank our guests.
I appreciate it, and I'll be gladly to help you guys out on any aspect if you need it. And the thing is, you guys got to do your research. You have to do your research, whether you're a flat earther or not. Do the research. If 90% of the world says, well, technically speaking, maybe third of the world says that the Earth is flat. 66% says that it's globe. Do the research. Okay? Prove it wrong. Prove by a shadow of a doubt that whatever you're believing in is correct. That's what you do.
High altitude balloons only run a few $100.
I'm looking at multiple.
I mean, I can do the quick research right now and pull up everything on the web.
I'm trying to. I keep seeing them do it over flat Earths. Oh, here's one finally. Here's got some Earth curve in it.
So, Mika, what site do you use to do research?
Who, me?
Yeah.
By physical proof, I went to college for 4 years. I studied a lot of different things in reality. I've traveled the world. I got physical proof because that's by life experiences. I've traveled the world. I had GPS on me. I'm constantly being monitored, when I was in the military.
Are there parts in the ocean?
Exactly where I'm at from any point in the world when I was in the military.
Were there parts in the ocean where you lost GPS signal?
Okay. Anywhere in the planet Earth, okay, there is places on planet Earth, and I will tell you this right now, where phone signal cannot get into. Okay? That's normal. It could be a magnetic interference. It could be caused by a lot of different things. Geospatial satellites do work. But in certain areas, there's blackouts where you can't get any signal anywhere by
Like
GPS or otherwise. But then again, we've tracked people underground in a heavily fortified iron mountain, trapped in a mountain by using a GPS. So it can work. It just certain areas have too much magnetic field or magnetic interference, and it does happen. The Bermuda Triangle is a perfect example. A lot of gadgets do get kind of squirrely over in the Bermuda Triangle. Well, we don't even know why. The only explanation is too much magnetic.
So you think it's absolutely impossible that these systems can be being done with ground towers?
Okay. It's not impossible. Anything's plausible, and I will tell you that. Anything is plausible. Why? Because we had one, and I'm not, oh God, I hate to say this, but military will not testify to it, a lot of it, because the generals won't testify to it. But when China flew over with their their F-23, I think it was, which is like the Black Widow or the F-36 or some shit like that. The Black Widow, that was armed with an EMP. It flew over one of the actual carriers, and it actually set off an EMP. That EMP shut everything off, which is electromagnetic pulse. It shut everything on that carrier off. When that jet fighter, the Black Widow from China, flew away from there, at about, it was 100 miles away, everything went back up and running again. So it does happen. But,
hey, Awakening,
hey,
Awakening Matrix, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate you.
No problem, man.
But with all the technology that we have,
hold on.
are we a superpower in the United States? Yes, we are.
I'm going to need you to speak up a little bit, Awakening Matrix. We can hardly hear you.
Yeah, I just have a question for Micah or Michael.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyways, nice to be on the live about this discussion about flat Earth. So you
gotta speak up, bro.
So you was speaking about the sniper bullet. You have to cater for the rotation of the Earth, right? So
say again.
So if you put a when you was talking about the sniper bullet, you have to cater for the rotation of the Earth. You were saying, right?
We cannot physically see the rotation of the Earth, but we could calculate the rotation of the Earth.
Okay,
if you're in outer space, then yes, you can actually see the rotation of the Earth. And I will plain and simple right there.
If you put a drone, right? If you put a drone to hover one spot, the drone hours would pass and the drone will remain on the same spot. It doesn't calculate rotation and it doesn't move the location of the drone.
Our drones are actually manned by humans. Okay, and they're actually sitting at a desk.
So is the machine that is calculating the sniper shot for you is also made by man. But what I'm saying is for example, a plane going to shoot that destination does not angle it ahead at the destination in order to line up there with rotation.
Okay, there is I'm not a pilot, but there is an altitude. Okay, a sensors on drones and planes will tell you what your altitude is, because it automatically sends signal from the ground up to the plane or the jet or the drone, and it tells you what your altitude is. So it might seem like you're flying straight.
A plane does not.
You're not
I think
seeing
what
what?
you're trying to say, Mika, is you can fly a plane, a helicopter, a drone, whatever. None of that's impacted by the Coriolis, but a bullet is. What's the argument as to why?
Yes, it actually is. Okay.
It is.
Okay.
Okay.
Is. No, and I will tell you why.
You can
And I will tell you why. Because when I flew from Florida straight to California, okay, I flew to Florida. I was on a flight to go from Florida to California. Okay, that's going from East Coast to West Coast. It took a shorter period of time to get to California than it did from California, going from California to Florida. Okay, it took it took actually relatively about an hour and 15 minutes, minus the layovers and whatsoever, but it took an hour and 15 minutes more to fly from West Coast to East Coast than it did from East Coast to West Coast.
Yeah, but on mainstream science is show you an exact time that a plane is take the time to go and come is the exact time. You claiming that, but we all know, and science and research shows that it takes a set time to go from one destination to the other. So it could just be a claim that you're saying, if you know what I'm saying. And by all means, you're trying to say that because of the rotation of the Earth, we will end up at the next destination at a faster time. But
I got to California in a faster time than I did from California to Florida. I'll tell you that right now.
I have a quick question.
And they
And
took the same flight,
Yeah, but however,
the same
mainstream
flight
science teaches that
trajectory.
it takes
1
one
minute.
a set time.
1 minute. Quick question, and I'm going to start setting a timer because we're starting to talk over each other a little bit, and I want to make sure that everybody's heard. So it's just going to be like a minute timer to just be able to go back and forth without being interrupted. But I did have a
Yeah.
quick question before I did that. For I can't read your name, bro. I'm sorry.
It's Devil Dog, by
Devil
the way,
Dog.
and Devil Dog is basically German. Was given to us by the Germans, by the way, back in the World War One.
Very
Just to
cool.
let you know.
So I'm looking at some stuff, and this says .mil. Assuming that's military. DTIC. What is that?
Estimated time. Well, ETIC could be many things.
No, DT. That D is in dog. T is in. It's like it's I'm looking at manuals and stuff. So you were talking about like letters and stuff. So I'm just trying to make sure I'm looking at the right stuff.
Hey, Trouble, I'm gonna take off, brother. Hey, appreciate you letting me come on, man. We will continue this conversation.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you coming on as well.
You have a good night, brother.
You as well. All right. So the reason why I brought that up is because I looked up Army manuals for flat Earth, and it actually said one of the things is propagation of electromagnetic fields over flat Earth, DTIC, Army Research Laboratory, for 2001. So I just thought that was interesting.
You mean the defense technologies? Is that what you're trying to refer to? Defense technology? Information center?
Besides a sniper shot, there's a lot of other proof about flat Earth that is undeniable and it's like total in front of your eyes. For example, the sun is totally local. Anybody can
Glitch, you're gonna have
look
to
at the
speak
sun and
into
realize
your
that there's
phone. It's
clouds
really
behind
hard
the
to hear
sun
you.
and clouds
Where'd the guy
in
go?
the front of the sun.
Yeah, I was actually referring to the electromagnetic fields over a flat Earth as referenced by this Army Research Laboratory, DTIC. You can search that yourselves. Pretty easy to find. But I'm just looking up Army manuals that reference flat Earth. Here's another one: derivation and definition of linear aircraft model. That one's actually from NASA.gov. Most people are familiar with that one. Rigid aircraft of constant mass flying over a flat, non-rotating Earth. Radio propagation over a flat Earth. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff.
I mean, could you imagine studying an aircraft flying and having to factor, not assuming it's a flat Earth, you have to factor in a rotation? Like, you obviously wouldn't come up with correct math. That's why they assume a flat stationary Earth. Imagine you have to factor in curvature. Your calculations would just not represent reality whatsoever. On the slightest.
Agreed. Awakening, you're gonna have to either like turn your mic up or probably just try joining another time because we're having a really, really hard time hearing you.
Yeah, you all hear me better now?
A little bit, yeah.
Alright, okay. Yeah, man, it's a pleasure to be on the show, man. But what I'm saying, when you really do your research and look into the flat Earth, there's more proof about flat Earth than actual globe. And there's a lot of things that clearly show that we are in a flat Earth with a firmament above. For example, the sun. People will say that the sun is not local, but using a solar filter and a negative filter, you can clearly see that there's clouds behind the sun and in front of the sun at the same time, which is 100% proof that the sun is not 93 million miles away. Another thing about the moon is a luminous object. For example, it have instances where they see stars through the moon, as if the stars was between the telescope and the moon. So that right there is a perfect example that the moon is a luminary. That's the only way that a star could be showing through the moon. And besides that, people claim that boats disappear over the horizon. They do realize it have cameras now that they could zoom beyond your horizon and see the boat right in your face. People like to debunk it and say, they'll show you pictures with the boat half cut out. That's because that's as far as the zoom in the camera could reach. The zoom in the camera couldn't reach a certain amount, so therefore if it couldn't reach the boat, they're gonna be like, look at disappearing over the horizon.
Oh yeah.
But I was saying there's a lot of facts about flat earth, bro, and I appreciate what you're doing. As a man could watch your life hold him, man.
Absolutely, man. I appreciate you tuning in as well. A lot of good information there. Mario, you're going to be our last guest for tonight, so I do appreciate you coming on as well. I appreciate all the guests coming on. So thanks for joining us, and what do you got for us?
So, I see the flat Earth, so I'm believing that you're a flat earther, right? I just came in right now, so I don't really, right? So, when we've been to space, right? But we never been anywhere to in space where you could see a full continent. Okay, like for example on that map, right? I could see right there. I could see Russia. I could see Africa. I could see Mexico, Brazil, United States, right? I could see Hawaii. We never been that high to be able to view everything. So being in high altitude uh, doesn't mean that just because you see everything flat, Earth is flat. You know what I'm saying? Because we never been high enough to be able to see one continent, let alone all the continents. I mean, we can't even see some of the biggest states from outer space. So of course we're gonna see from outer space flat land, and when you go to the North Pole, and there's and you're like very very north, the compass, they just stop working. They don't really like work anymore, the compasses. And then magnets, like Earth is a magnet, right? And so when you take magnets out into space, uh magnets, they don't work out in space. So it shows that Earth is actually magnetic. And if Earth is magnetic, and if you know anything about flat magnets, the center of the magnet, that doesn't have any magnitude. Like the only magnitude would be the rim. So it's the top rim and the bottom rim. It's not like the top rim, like a part of it, and then the other part, north and south pole. So because it's only on the rim that is magnitude, so or I mean magnetic. I think that this all just points to a spherical Earth.
Base and Truth, did you want to take that one, or shall I?
Well, I'll take the first part, because he's saying we went into space, and that's up for debate on its own. That's a presupposition in my mind, because the furthest we can go, the reason why you can only see so much, you can't see the entire Earth like you're alluding to. The reason for that is because we can only get to low Earth orbit according to authority, which is actually just the height of a helium balloon, so 130,000 feet max. Of course, you're not going to see everything from that height, and we can't. From what I've seen, real videos, real pictures, not any animations or renderings of what they claim they can see from up there. But if you send a real camera up there, your line of sight is obviously limited. You're right; you can't see a whole lot, and the term they use for that is called the Kármán line. Kármán line is actually the edge of space. That's where Felix Baumgartner, he jumped from, the edge of space, and that's the height of a helium balloon. You're not going to see much from there.
Right.
But
Yeah.
that's
So you can't see much. In order to say that the Earth is flat, right? Because like you said, you can't see much. So
So
you can't and since Earth curves, you can't see the curvature neither. So
well,
of course your eyes are going to gaze into the distance, and
presupposition, my friend.
that your eyes are going to gaze into the distance off uh into space, but you're not going to see it curvature the curvature because it goes inwards. So that doesn't prove that Earth is flat.
um, the issue with that is you're actually arguing with the majority of people trying to defend the globe, saying you can see curvature from there, you can see it from a plane, you can see it from a lake, you can see it from the Earth itself, you can see it in bridges, convexing over the distance. So it's interesting when you always get these conflicting arguments from people who are supposed to be on the same side. I find that
Well,
kind of ironic.
well, well, you can see a if you go up to the top of a mountain, right, or if you're in higher ground, yeah, you'll be able to see a curvature into short distance because you're in a higher ground, right? Um, but that doesn't mean that the Earth is actually curving. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
That's just looking at a line from a higher or lower point of view.
you can believe you're on a ball, you can believe you're on anything. The higher up you go, the further you can see. It's that
Right,
simple.
right. Right. But the higher you go, you're always looking down, right? So because you're always looking down into the distance, looking down into the distance doesn't prove curvature. Because you are looking down into the distance, so that's already a curved line, right? Like you're already looking diagonally somewhere, right? But because the higher you go, it's like the farther you're able to see on that diagonally, but you can't be saying, oh, just because I can see this from a diagonal point of view, it means that the Earth is curving. Like, no.
Well, you honestly, I've never seen any unedited, genuine content that shows curvature at any altitude. None.
Right, because you're not gonna be able to see it unless the only way that you'll be able to see it is if you go far enough, like the same way we could observe the moon. Like you got to be way out in space to where you know that okay, from this point of view, I could see that all the continents are in there. Although you might not be able to see from the east to the west or the north to the south, right? But you could see the not just the curvature of like what you guys say that is the curvature of the Earth, but you will see the whole like the whole circle, right? You should be able to see the top, the bottom, the left, the right, in every direction, and then to a point where you know that the inside of that bubble right there, every continent has to be there, right? Whether you can see the continents
Sure.
from outer space or not, then you could be able to make a claim, whether Earth is flat or not flat.
Sure. So, Mario, would you agree that if we were presented with an authentic photograph or an authentic video from space, that would just destroy flat Earth on its own? And if you were able
Yeah,
to,
pretty much because the continents go around the Earth, so you won't be able to see, like the Americas and the Middle East continents at the same time.
sure, yeah. So, what I'm getting at though is if we were presented with authentic, uh,
Right.
authoritative sources from NASA that show the Earth from space that wasn't an animated or an edited image, then they would be able to destroy and end flat Earth on its own right then and there.
Yeah, but there's no video from space that could prove that. Like, I mean, yes, there is videos that they have gone to space and recorded Earth, but like I said, right, those videos they make your eyes gaze into the distance until you can't see farther, so that it gazes off into space. But like I said, you can't see a full continent from there. You can't see, the from the Americas all the way to the Middle East. You can't see like that far, right? So you don't really know how far you're looking. So technically, all you could be looking at is, maybe a couple states in America, maybe like from, I don't know, California to Nevada or Texas or something like that. But to be able to say, oh, all I see here is every continent, and every continent is what I'm looking at. It's like, no, you have to be farther enough, even way far, to where you could actually see the whole, the whole circle, the whole thing. And then, you realize, okay, I can see space over, above, below, on the left side, on the right side, in all directions. And every continent has to be within inside of this right
10
here,
seconds.
this circle, or and then okay, whether it's flat or it's not flat.
Sure. Go ahead, Trouble.
Oh no, you're fine. I was giving him his time. Yeah, the thing is, Mario, is that everything that you're arguing, you're basically arguing against. You're basically arguing against the observations to like explain why there would be curvature despite what we see. I'm kind of like, if it looks flat, it measures flat, it feels flat, and it's probably flat, and then we would need a really, really good reason to assume that it's curved. So Mario, I'd go ahead and move the conversation to that point. What would be your best evidence of the sphericity of Earth? Why do you hang on to the spinning ball so hard?
Well, we observe other planets, right? And they're all sphere. They're all spherical. So it's kind of like you say, oh, that you go based on if you see flat, and you go on the plane is flat, you go to the moon, or no, you go out of space and everything is flat, then it's got to be flat, right? That's like the same, like how they say, right? If it looked like a duck, quack like a duck, swim like a duck is a duck, right? Okay, if you use that same analogy, okay, well, the moon is a sphere, the sun is a sphere, the planets are a sphere, Mars is a sphere, everything else is a sphere. Why not keep it a sphere?
Can I explain why that doesn't work? So the reason why your analogy doesn't work is because when I'm talking about the Earth, right? When I say the Earth looks flat, the Earth feels flat, all these things about the Earth, right, seem that it's flat. You're talking about the moon, you're talking about the stars, you're talking about like all these things. None of these things that you're referencing are the Earth whatsoever. And your entire model presupposes this whole entire vacuum of space inside a bubble, inside or next to infinite universes and infinite dimensions and all kinds of crazy stuff with dark matter and dark energy that you choose to believe because it does come from the authorities, even though they say that a lot of the stuff exists simply because it has to mathematically for their model to work. I think if you did a little bit of more research and you saw that even famous people like Michio Kaku admit that their mathematics and their gravitational model are wrong. It doesn't work for the cosmic scale. It doesn't work for the micro scale. So, I mean, there's lots of problems with your own model that you choose to believe in. It's just you're not presented with these problems on a regular basis, at least until you go into a flat Earth, a flat Earth live, right? So as far as like we can take it beyond the looks, I mean, it literally measures flat, and the geometric horizon that we're supposed to have, unfortunately, cannot be found. We can see way, way, way past that, which is impossible on a globe Earth unless you invoke super looming magical refraction, which doesn't even have a real number to it. It's just a guess and check sliding scale, slide it to where you need the observation to work. But with that, I do want to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm going to go ahead and let Base and Truth go first for just go ahead and do your last little spiel, and then I'll let Mario do his last little spiel, and then we'll go ahead and wrap it on up. I appreciate everybody from coming on. I saw you in the guest box, people. I'm afraid I didn't get to you today, but feel free to tune in next time. We're not going to be on tomorrow because I'm going to be on with Flat Earth Dave, but we will be back on Thursday. So I appreciate everybody tuning in. Based in Truth, you're on.
Yeah, so what Mario's saying is a genuine, consideration. Well, everything looks like a sphere. Why would we assume the Earth's not a sphere? So where he comes to that reasoning, it's pretty understandable. Everyone kind of thinks that way. there's we can't be the only flat disk in space. That's a whole mindset that most people come across, and it's genuine to them, Mario. But I like to summarize this with "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star." And if you actually go out tonight and you look at the space, you'll see majority of that stuff is flashing, is flickering. It's not exactly what we've been led to believe. If you zoom in on Mars with a telescope or a high-powered camera with like 120 times or more optical zoom, you'll see that what they claim to be Mars is it's like a flickering ball of gas of some sort. It's not even spherical on its own when you actually zoom in on it. And that's what I find interesting is because if anyone was to go out and look on their own, you'd see for yourself that these notions of spherical planets and stars and all these things in the sky that have to be spherical, they just don't match what we can actually observe if you go out and do it yourself. And that's where the disconnect is, because most people are imagining they've been led to believe certain things about space, but if you were to go look for yourself with your own two eyes with with a telescope, with a camera, you would see it doesn't match what they're claiming and they've been showing to us as like since young. So there's a big disconnect between the observable reality and what we've been led to believe. And so Mario, it's genuine saying, well, everything else is spherical, but if you were to look, you'd see that it just doesn't hold up.
Yeah. Well, I have a friend who has a telescope, and it's not the first time I used a telescope, just from him, but I've used other telescopes, and I could actually see, and they actually do look rounded, like spherical, and I've looked at it through a telescope myself before, but when it comes down to flat Earth, right? And we know that flat Earth is a magnet, right? Because everything is attracted towards Earth. Nothing goes out of it. Everything goes to it, right? When you get a like let's say like a magnet from a speaker, which would be similar to a flat Earth, right? It's like a donut shaped magnet, right? Um, you know that the negative side is either on the bottom or the top, right? Depending which side you have it at. So if Earth is a magnetic, field and it's flat, then technically the bottom of the Earth either has to be positive or negative, or the top has to be positive or negative. You can't have positive and negative in the same direction, right? So you can't have positive and negative on top. You see what I'm saying? One of them has to be on top, the other one has to be on the bottom. But this is what happens. We could actually go to the North Pole, and you'll notice that when you go north, the compass will stop working. Like it's kind of like, okay, you've hit, like, the level of like the main point that is like uh the division between top and bottom, right? But technically you wouldn't be able to go there, because then you would have to go underneath Earth in order to be able to say, okay, well, this is the negative side and the top of the Earth is the positive side. So that's not possible.
That's all you, troubling. I've never been to the Arctic. I live in Canada. We're one of the closest to there, but I've never experienced
videos on
anything
YouTube.
on it.
So this is what I would say on the subject, Mario. It seems like you're somewhat familiar with magnets, but you're missing a huge thing, and I wouldn't be surprised if you never even heard of it, because it is pretty obscure. But basically, there is such a thing as monopole magnets. Magnets basically that only attract; they only have the one side, and that's basically what we think is at the center of the Earth at the North Pole. It's theorized that there's a giant magnetic mountain there, and so your downfall is where you assume that this magnet has to have both that north and positive on it. It can just have one of the attractive forces that we call north, and the opposite of that is south. But there's also the possibility that Earth actually is a dipole, and that there are two magnetic points. Like I said, there's multiple flat Earth models in the works that are being worked out. So that's why it's really hard to subscribe to one. True science doesn't really fall for a consensus and is always challenging the narrative to try to find. We'll try to inch closer to the truth, whatever that may be. For it's definitely the wise man that knows that he's a fool, and fools that think that they're wise. So I will go ahead and leave it on that note. I do appreciate everybody coming on. Mario, Based in Truth, thanks for coming on. I really appreciate it. For those of you who haven't yet, go ahead and give me a follow, because we do this. We try to do it every weeknight. Tomorrow we're going to be on with Flat Earth Dave Weiss. If you guys have any questions that you would like for me to ask him, then feel free to leave a comment in the video on my profile. It has his big face, his smiling face right on it, so you can't miss it. Go ahead and check that out and leave a comment if you have a specific question that you want me to ask. Just please no troll questions. I will vet them. So don't even try to ask something stupid or inappropriate.
Just one more word there, Troubling.
Sure thing.
So I just want you guys to understand that the greatest enemy to the truth is not a lie. It's the illusion of the truth. And with that, I'm out. Peace.
Excellent.
All right. Have a good one.
Absolutely. That was excellent. Excellent final words. Flat Earth Dave, is this where you will be on tomorrow? No, unfortunately, it will not be here on TikTok. We are going to be streaming it, so I'm not sure if we're gonna be doing it live or if we're gonna stream it and then post it. It just depends on how he wants to do it, but that's why you got to put your questions in. That way you can go ahead and catch the show. We're going to be putting it on Rokfin and on YouTube. If you are not on Rokfin yet, I think you really got to get over there. They're a much better platform. They don't censor. They let us speak our truth, and they let people do their own research. Do it yourself, as they say. We will be posting the full lives there and on YouTube, and it will be on Rokfin because there is a subscription base, so you can pay to be a part. Which, why wouldn't you want to support local truthers and people in your community that are helping bring information to you in good platforms? Rokfin, Rokfin. And there's a bunch of free content on it as well, but there is some stuff that you do have to subscribe for. But hey, you get the one subscription, you get it all. And if you subscribe under yours truly, you'll be supporting the show. So we do appreciate everybody who does that. All of the support will go towards creating a better show, of course. So we definitely appreciate it. Dave is, I don't know if he is on Rokfin, but he is on YouTube. It's Dirth, Dirth. Stands for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole. And you can also search another channel called Flat Earth Interviews, or Flat Earth Dave Interviews. And you can find his channel where he's just doing a whole bunch of interviews. And that's really, really fun. All right. And with that, I think that's all we have to it. I'm sorry if I didn't get to your comments. As always, I appreciate everybody coming on the show. I do like that last comment, Earth is formless. Yeah, it's kind of like a dream, in my opinion. We're in the never-ending dream of God. But hey, I appreciate everybody coming out. I am going to be doing a water video here soon. I know people tuning in the last live were expecting something, so that's coming here shortly. I'm going to be posting the resource, ewg.org, so you can find out how you can, find out what's in your water and how to purify it. And if you need help figuring out what filters you need, or how to go about finding somebody in your area, feel free to contact me. You can leave a comment on one of my videos, or you can go to my YouTube, or you can go to my email. My email is troublingtribune@gmail.com. Just please no scam stuff. Flurfers are scammers, period. He's grifting for the truth. Yeah, free truth is a psyop. No work is free. It's a lot of energy and effort to do this. But hey, I do promise that everything that I'm going to get is going to get invested back into the show to bring you all a more entertaining experience. So with that, I bid you all adieu, good night, and I will see you next time.